Now, let me explain this book, 9 Ways Physicians in Private Practice Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. You can imagine that one of the ways, now this is just one of the 9, but it has to do with managing their revenue and the fact that they're not on top of it. Their staff doesn't have time to stay on top of that. So Dr. Ragnar and I came up with this book that has a lot of great tips in there for doctors. And this is going to be one of those co-authored, I should say branded books, Eric, just like our Thriving book. This one is going to be able to, all the licensees can put their name on there as having written the foreword to the book. It makes a wonderful contact information is printed in the inside at the end of the foreword, and it's just a wonderful marketing tool that we came up with. So why not have another one? So there you go.
You bet. Way to go. And that's going to be exciting. Now, when do you think you're going to project that book to be out?
We're looking at probably the next 30, 45 days at the most, and that'll be another marketing tool that the licensees at the June training will also be able to have access to. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. And folks, if you haven't read any of the other books that we're talking about there, obviously we'll share a little bit more about that. But Patrick, today we're going to really kind of focus in on some very specific questions that you and I have gotten over, gosh, the years that you and I have been doing webinars. And obviously the first question is, is starting a business in healthcare the right move? And Patrick, before we even get to the first slide here, is medical billing still a viable type business? Let's just kind of start right there.
Yeah, we used to talk about this, Eric, all the time. You and I, when this thing, 10 years ago, we were just saying, well, maybe with Obamacare and all the changes that are coming about in the healthcare system in the United States, is there going to be a place for doctors to outsource their billing? Well, it's booming right now. I mean, we're finding that more and more licensees are realizing that doctors really, it's dawning on them at this point, I think, that, hey, I either go to work for somebody else and become an employee, don't have any control over my time or my income or what I do for my patients by working for a hospital, or I just stay in private practice and figure out how to get that income back to where it used to be.
Sure.
And we can help them do that.
You bet you can. Well, these are some of the questions that we're going to be talking about, because here are some of the obstacles that what we're going to be discussing today. What people think about, is this the right timing? Is starting a business in healthcare the right thing for you?
I think that's paused. I'm pretty sure it's paused.
Actually, I'm seeing it on my screen here, showing main screen.
It just showed up. It just showed up. Here's some of the obstacles we will discuss. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's saying, first of all, a lot of people think about that they may not have a lot of money or enough money. So we're going to kind of talk about some of the financing options that we have been able to work with. What about maybe not having enough time? I know, Patrick, a lot of people may want to even think about starting this on a part-time basis. So that's a great little discussion that we can talk about. Here's one. Obviously, Patrick, people might just be unclear of the details and set them up a business. I mean, you've helped many people just get just the basics of a business going.
It's daunting, when you start your own business with all the different things that you have to do with business cards, and you've got to get a website going, and you've got to figure out how to market, of course. All of those things kind of come in on you all at one time. Well, in our class, as you know, Eric, we have a whole session on getting your business up and running if you haven't already. Some people do that before they come to our workshop, of course, and they'll get choose their name of their company and get it set up as an LLC or whatever. But there's a lot of people who they wouldn't know where to begin. So we hold them by the hand.
You bet. Some of the obstacles are going to be these. My friends and relatives say I shouldn't start my own business. And you know what? Some of them, I guess, could be right, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
But I think most people that are on the call today, I think these are well business savvy people, but we're going to at least talk to you about how to address those folks. I know nothing about sales and marketing. Patrick, why don't you just real briefly talk about that? Because really, I know a lot of people worry about sales and marketing to doctors.
It's probably the most daunting thing, really, because once you get your business set up and running, if you don't have clients, you don't have a business, right? You have to have clients. And so we're going to show you in our workshop how we go through step by step to help you find that first client.
You bet. Setting up a website can sometimes be overwhelming. We'll be talking about that. A lot of people like this industry. I mean, Patrick, we hear a lot about this. People love the industry. They know that
Yeah.
it's not going to come here, but they have no background or training in it.
Yeah, and I asked this question at the beginning of the class, usually, Eric, how many of you have a background in the medical field? Very few people raise their hands. And then when I say, well, how many of you actually have done some medical billing for doctors? Very few, very few. It's rare.
Yeah, you bet. I don't know anyone who could advise or support me once I get this business started. That's one that we'll certainly address.
Very
People,
important. Yeah.
yep. There may be some people who want to work by themselves. They don't want to work with employees, so we'll certainly talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be confined to a particular territory. And what if I get started and I don't like this business? So these folks, all these questions, we're going to try to cram in here in this hour here. So get ready. If you've got a question.
Now.
Yeah, if we can get this thing going, let's start it. Okay, let's start about I don't have enough money to start a business. So, I mean, a lot of people do, Patrick. They love the industry, but they may be struggling on trying to figure out what kind of money they're going to need to get started in this business.
Yeah. Yeah, coming up with the funds for a business, of course, is the first step, because if you haven't set aside funds, savings, in other words, over the years to start a business, of course, not many people have $27,000 just laying around in their bank account ready to invest. However, having said that, our investment is probably on the low end. Anybody who does any research on business opportunities that are a real solid business now, not a fad of some kind, or a franchise, they'll be spending a whole lot more than $27,000, which is our licensing fee.
Correct. Yeah, and obviously, if you need to go get a loan, I mean, we're just going to really, for those, we're just starting right here at the basic. There's a difference between unsecured loan and secured loan. So unsecured loans, you know that this is basically your signature and your credit. Some of it's going to have to be a secured loan. But what we want to kind of talk with you about is this. If you're going to go to a bank or a credit union or anything else, Patrick, you counsel everybody to try to get a personal loan, because at that point you can basically do whatever you want to do with the money. But if you go into that line there that says I want to get a business loan, now you've got a lot of hoops to jump through.
Oh, that's a whole different world for a banker. And of course, you know this, Eric, because your son is in the banking industry, and he will tell you that anybody who talks about a business, they've got to have great credit. They've got to have a history. They should be in business for 2 years or more. All kinds of things there to get a loan for business. But if you need an add-on to your patio, that's pretty simple. I can tell you right now, you're going to spend, more than $27,000 adding a patio sunroom or something like that. So you can always use the money for whatever it is. Look, all it boils down to is this: are you an honest person? Are you going to pay the money back? That's all they care about. And so if you are, then you can use that money. You might say that it's to do this or that with, but then when you get it, you can do anything you want to with it, right? It's your money at that point.
Yeah, and folks, you could literally be able to, I know a lot of people who have gotten this business, they have gone down and gotten a personal loan, but a lot of people want to think about, well, let's go down to the Small Business Administration. Patrick, you want to share a little bit about the SBA a little bit?
Well, it's weird. We used to not, people would say that they're going to go get an SBA loan and then we'd never hear from them again, right? This is not something we recommend. As a company, we think that that's a waste of time. Having said that, we did have one guy, I think, over the years actually got approved somehow by that. But, they're going to want to loan you $50,000 plus. You have to have fairly decent credit or background or something there for that. I think this guy already had another business, and so he borrowed money on that other business is what he did. Then he started this one. So
yeah, and what's going to happen here, as I just put in here, what's going to happen with the SBA? It's been my experience over here over the last 10 years with people trying to get their money from the SBA is, again, that they're looking for a little bit higher payout. If you're going to get money for them, they're looking to loan you $100,000 or more.
Yeah.
Then they're going to start taking you down rabbit trails. And Patrick, I work for some people. By the time that they've gone through everything, they thought they were going to get the loan, and now they start back all over with, oh, well, now they want this, now they want that. It's just a never-ending,
Yeah,
We
yeah. The paperwork is just it's a huge, thick stack of paperwork there.
Yes, absolutely. So you talk about starting this just with credit cards. You want to briefly talk about that?
Well, in fact, the first time I heard this was from Zig Ziglar back when he was going all over the country telling people about how to get a business started and so forth. He used to recommend that you just borrow it from yourself. That's the
Right.
easiest place to borrow money is from yourself. And if you've got credit card or cards, plural, there's been licensees who come to us, Eric, and used 4 cards, to get
Right.
the funds that they need. That is probably the most expensive way that you could get the money because if you pay that out on a month by month basis, of course, you're going to pay the interest, whatever your interest rate is. But for people who don't have another source for money, there's nothing wrong with borrowing it from your credit cards and just paying it back
You
over the
bet.
months.
Yeah, so we've got this website. Now, this website that we show right here is the website that's actually on our funding page that you can go to. So that's one of the places that we recommend. The other one is a home equity loan. I'm working with someone right now who's actually working on getting a home equity loan. So and we've heard of other folks to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, so that means that you've paid enough into your mortgage over the years to have accumulated, let's say, $27,000. You can go
Yep.
borrow that against the house. All they do is tack it onto the end of the mortgage and you continue paying. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So you've always got that option. And then finally, a company that we've actually worked with which is called Guidant Financials, and we've got their web address right down there at the very bottom, where you can get pre-qualified. It's a small little bitty application, but Patrick, I know that we've gotten some folks funded through them.
Yep.
Obviously, it's kind of like they're going through they know a lot more about funding than what we know about funding. So that's why we recommend going to them. But just here, folks, I mentioned that you could go to our resource page right under where it says how much does it cost. You click on that, and then you can see right there where it says see our funding resources, and that's where you're going to find everything that we've talked about up to this point.
Yeah, it's a little bitty link there. See, it says funding resources there. That arrow is pointing to it. But yeah, there's a lot of resources there to help people who don't have the funds put together. And that's why we encourage people to come to these webinars just on a regular basis. You might have some ideas that we share with you that gives you an idea that helps you get this business started. So don't hesitate to come, even though you may not have the funds yet. There may be some other things we share down the line that'll help you find those funds.
You bet. Patrick, Kent's asking the question, does the fee cover the cost of flying and staying in Dallas for the training? You want to answer that one real quickly before we move on?
No. I mean, that's the answer. This is the short answer. The fee is it's kind of like a franchise fee, but they didn't include coming to somewhere to train and hotel rooms and things like that. So folks, here's the way to look at it. Look at it like this. We've got our fee under $30,000 for a reason. That way you can have a little money there for flights down here and the week's hotel. It's only about, I don't know, maybe $700 for the whole week to stay at the hotel. We provide breakfast and lunch at the hotel, and even finger foods at night through the hotel. So you don't really have to spend a whole lot of money while you're here. Although there is the Texas's largest mall right across the parking lot.
Yeah, it's a huge place to go hang out there. But
you can go spend some money there for sure. They got one of those theaters where you can go and eat while you're watching the movie, and yeah, it's a great place.
Right. Well, and that one of the other reasons that it's not covered because we have the money back guarantee. And so obviously, people that want to invest their time and their effort, but then they find out that this may not be the right business for them, we'll reimburse your investment of the $26,990. You just cover again your time and efforts to get here. So
don't talk about
a money
back guarantee yet.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Too early. All right. I don't have enough time, or I work 40 plus hours a week now. So that's one of the questions that we get as somewhat of an obstacle. So we're just going to kind of coach you along the way. Patrick, you've told people, look, work at your own pace. I mean, I think a lot of people right out of the gate say, you know what, I got to get this doctor like now. And some people need to get their doctorate now. Now we'll work with you, especially if you're doing this at full time. But again, some people are doing this part-time?
Well, I tell people, look, we've been around for 25 years, going on 25 years now. And so we're going to be here for another 25 years at least. You don't worry about the fact that you might not get this business up and running the first week, after you leave our workshop. Whatever time it takes you to get your client, that's what it takes. But the nice thing is that once you've got a client, it's residual income. That doctor is going to be billing patients and insurance companies every single month. For you, that means an ongoing revenue stream. And those doctors, if you do a good job for them, they'll refer other doctors to you. So you may not do any marketing at all after your first. So how do you do that working a full-time job? Well, that's what we're talking about here. Most of the licensees started this business part-time. We asked that question. This last class, Eric, almost all of them were working a full-time job. So it can be done. In fact, one of our instructors, prior to the one that we're using right now, is and was a licensee, and she got hers going working 60 hours a week in her little cubicle prison, she called it.
Right.
In fact, she wrote her letter, Eric. That was Bonnie, as you remember. She wrote her letter of resignation the day she signed up with us, and post dated it like a year out. And then when that year came by, she turned that in and walked away. So she got enough clients to replace that 6-figure income in that first year.
You bet. And what she did was what we're said next here is she met people or other people in their communities before and after hours. I mean, obviously, a lot of times you may not be able to do it before hours begin, but certainly I know within our little community here, there are a lot of after-hour networking meetings and gatherings, and doctors are showing up at those places. So there's enough to do, after 5:30.
Yeah, and we teach people how to do this, what's called professional business networking. There's a whole session in our training class on how important it is to do this the right way. And if you do, you're going to connect with people in your community who know doctors and who know doctors who need your help. And that's where you get your introductions from a warm market standpoint. Yeah.
Right. We know also this, that because this is one of those few businesses that you can start and work part-time, because there are a lot of franchises, a lot of business opportunities who won't even accept you unless you can do it full.
That's right.
Yep. You might want to utilize sales reps. We'll talk about utilizing sales reps here in just a little bit, but that's certainly one of those deals. And obviously, many doctors can't be seen during regular business hours anyway.
Right.
So it kind of forces you to do stuff before and after hours.
Yeah, we've had pharmaceutical reps come through and become licensees, and they tell us that they happen to know that the secret to meeting with doctors sometimes is they get there real early or they stay late, and that's when they'd like to see vendors outside of their actual hours they see the patients.
You bet. Absolutely. So just kind of put this out of your head that you may not think, well, gosh, I don't have enough time. I work 40 plus hours a week right now. How could I even get this built up? We've had very successful licensees do this. It's just a matter of, tenacity in a lot of cases of just getting out there and getting that done.
Yeah.
Patrick, do you see any questions you want to kind of go on? I think Renee's got one here that talked about the fees. Are there any ongoing fees?
No. In fact, you never pay another penny to ABS for anything. We don't believe in nickel and diming people. After the sale, you're going to want support. Well, that's all included. No cost for support, extra seats at the software as users. There's no ongoing upgrade fees, no training, no support fees whatsoever. None.
That's correct. Yep. All right. Now let's talk about, I'm a little unclear about details in setting up a business. Patrick, you already mentioned earlier that in our training class, we do talk about naming your business. Now, a lot of folks that are thinking about coming to our training, they're getting it done early so that they can work on their business names and LLCs before training. That's always a good thing to do on. But once they're a licensee, we're going to actually help them prior to getting to training on even naming their business.
You bet. Our instructor, Cynthia, who is a licensee, by the way, has been for 10 years as of this month, Eric, 10 years.
Wow.
She tells people, look, don't worry about it. We're gonna do a little exercise during the workshop where we go through and see if you have some ideas for names, and she'll give you a little exercise to do that helps you come up with the name during the workshop if that's what you want to do, if you haven't already. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And setting up your business like an LLC. And I know some folks may already have their C Corps or S Corps, or you can use any of that. But some people just need to help set up their own business entity. Creating your logo, Patrick. I know that, gosh, there's so many areas where people can go create their logos. Obviously, on the internet, you can find that. But we found great success, and you might want to share a little bit about this, about using that little group called Fiverr. I know that you use it. We use it here at ABS quite often to create certain things for us.
It's a great resource for anything that you need done. Nowadays, most of the graphic stuff that you need done can be done over the internet. Well, there are graphic designers who, that's what they do, is they design logos. And some of them will do it for as little as 10, 20 bucks. You don't have to spend a lot of money on that. So we'll give you tips on that during the workshop, how to find those logo makers that are out there for that kind of thing.
You bet. Equipment that is needed, and let's just kind of get this off the table. There's really not a whole lot of equipment really needed. I mean, if you've got a computer and you're watching the go-to meeting today, your computer's ready to go.
Yeah, most people have a printer, of course, and not that you'll be printing a lot of pieces of paper, but you might need a scanner. That's the only other thing that most people don't have, maybe, that they need to get, and that's just a scanner so that you can turn any piece of paper that comes into your office into a digital document. We don't have any file cabinets in our office, Eric, as you know. When visitors come, we dare them to find where we file all of our papers. What we do is we scan them in as they come in, and they go right into our iDocs Now offline secure document management system. So I can access those documents. Anybody in our office can access them 24/7 from any device that has an internet connection. It's a wonderful way to run a business, paperless.
Absolutely. So you've got business cards, marketing materials. Let me get back over there with all of that. The marketing materials we're going to give you, because that's going to be part of what you get from us here at ABS. So you don't have to really go make any marketing materials.
Yeah, there's over 2,000 pieces of marketing materials, and you can have those personalized with your name and your logo printed right there on the flyer. Yeah, they're very professional. We spend a lot of money developing the marketing materials.
So before I go any further, let me remind everybody, if you'll look over there underneath your control panel, there is a spot there that says handouts. Now, what we've done today is the information that we're giving you is actually in a PDF. So if you want to go over there and grab that, because this is an important part of this part of the webinar, because these are some of the things that you can literally be working on prior to getting to training. So we'll coach you right along with all that, but these are some of the things that, again, that here at ABS, we're going to certainly help you out and get that done. And it's really because you're powered by American Business Systems.
Hey, I like that term. You see that a lot on the internet, powered by this company or that company. It's good to know, folks, that you are not starting a business by yourself. We're going to help you get that business started, and we'll be there to support you the whole way. So throughout your whole history as a business owner, you're going to be powered by American Business Systems.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything and anything that we have here is going to be doing this. Now, this is the one I love. My friends and relatives should say I shouldn't start my own business. Patrick, you've got a book that kind of talks about thinking more positive, getting rid of the negative thoughts, but sometimes it's not the friends or the relatives that are saying I should get started. Sometimes it's yourself.
Yeah, but you know what? The last person I'll take advice from is, my brother-in-law. To be honest with you, he's not a businessman, and so when he tells me one thing, a particular thing sounds good, or I discount that because I know that he's never run a business, and so he has no idea what he's talking about. Now, I'm using a generic term there. I only have one brother-in-law, and I love the guy dearly, but he's just not a business guy. So whatever your parents or your friends or relatives are telling you about starting a business, you have to take that with a grain of salt. It's all your own due diligence that's going to make you either successful or not successful. You can assure that your business is going to be successful that the odds are for you by starting it with somebody like ourselves who have 25 years of experience and are behind you and support you every step of the way. So be able to tell your relatives that you're a part of the nation's largest network of medical revenue managers. And we even have a little presentation that we use here for our warm market. You could use that with your relatives to explain to them exactly what it is that you've gotten into and why there's a need for it. Once they see this, they'll wish there were a doctor with revenue problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're showing these two presentations. One is a flip chart that you can use. The other is on an iPad, so it's ready to go for that, or an Android tablet. I know a lot of people have a little bit of both, but it's just, again, it's a great way for you to explain to people about this, and obviously to your relatives. And really, I think, Patrick, one of the best things is just to show them that they either are they're the forward of the person that wrote the book, The New Thriving Medical Practice.
Yeah, and that's why we tell you that with your name put there on the cover, just like Susan Smith is at the bottom here. She's a certified medical revenue manager. We'll put your name just like that on the book. Now let's see what your brother-in-law says. You've helped create a book with a doctor. And they don't know who I am, but if they do some research, they'll find out that I'm the CEO and the founder of MIRMA, which is the organization that actually certifies you. They're the nation's largest network of medical revenue managers.
You bet. And then this is actually the inside cover of that. So folks who've never seen that before, you get to write the forward. Now we've got, like Patrick said, we've got one pre-written if you want to use that one. If you want to take it and make it a little bit more your own, you've got the flexibility to do that. We're here to work with you, not always dictate to you everything you need to do with your marketing. But again, we've been doing this for quite a few years now. We kind of know what's working here. And so, but on these things like this, we allow you to give some freedom to be able to write out your own forward to the book as well. Patrick, you want to? I was going to say, you go ahead.
Oh, somebody just asked the question about is the license fee, a franchise fee, $26,000 or $2,600? I may have said 100 while ago. I shouldn't have said that out loud. It's $26,990. So we round that to 27,000 actually.
That's right.
That was from Ali Digi. I guess that pronounced that right. I don't know. Okay. There's another one. The license investment fee is also the licensing fee. Yes, folks, just think of it this way. You've heard of franchise fees. That's a fee that you pay a franchise company to be able to use their system basically, and that's what ours is. That is the investment. And assuming that you have a computer and a printer, maybe a scanner, you might have to invest in that. That's about it. You have a cell phone, I'm assuming, so that's about all you need.
Yeah, you bet. Now, Renee, you've asked a lot of questions right in a row. Some of those are we've just going to answer because it has to do a lot about training. So it's a 5-day live training course. We'll kind of talk about that. You don't need an office. That's going to be, the training is a live training course. It's not in the evenings. So again, Renee, we're going to take on a lot of that. Patrick, Bobby's asking a question about discounts to vets. You want to address that one as well?
Yeah, Bobby, if you're a vet or anybody who's on here today or a vet, be sure and get back with the person who sent you the email inviting you to this webinar, because we appreciate your service and we're going to work with you at whatever it takes to help you get into this business.
You bet. So there you go, Bobby. Hopefully that I think you actually asked that question twice. You want to make sure that we got that one answered there. So we got that one taken care for you. All right. So getting back to the webinar here and some of these slides, here's an objection that a lot of people think about. I know nothing about sales and marketing. Again, Patrick, we've talked about sales. People are kind of afraid about sales and marketing. I'm going to let you kind of take care of that because you got to kick this off in the training class.
Yes, in fact, I love kicking off the marketing section because that's what I did when my wife and I started doing medical billing back in the late 80s, early 90s. I had to go out there and figure out, how do I get through the gatekeeper, the office manager? Do I talk to her? Do I talk to the billing person? Do I talk to the doctor? I had to figure all that out. Well, we did, and that's why we call American business systems, because it is a system. And
Sure.
and so these marketing materials, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars literally designing the flyers, and everything looks like it's a part of a like a franchise, but it's not. We have all the advantages of a franchise without being one. And these marketing materials, like I said earlier, you get a big supply of those, plus some of the books that have your name on the front cover there. That's all included.
Yep, that's all included. And one of the other books that we haven't mentioned yet, but it's one that Dr. Vicki Ragnar has also written, called The Myth of the Rich Doctor. I have heard so many great comments from this, especially when this book is given out to doctors, because the doctors go, it is a myth of us being rich.
Yeah. In fact, Dr. Vicki Ragnar, who authored this book, she's actually a noted speaker, and she's invited all over the country by doctor organizations to speak on this topic. They're just fascinated by it, the fact that a doctor, Dr. Ragnar, realizes that being a rich doctor is a myth. They don't make near the money that they thought that they were going to, and that's because of all the changes in the healthcare field. But we can help them, and this book is also used as a marketing tool by our licensees. Look at the quote here: physicians in private practice walk away from an average of 30% of their income. Now,
Right.
that'll get your attention if you're a doctor.
Certainly
And then
will.
she says outsourcing your medical billing could bring claim rejection rates to as low as 2 to 5%. Eric, ours is actually less than 2% now. So this may be the
Right.
fastest and easiest way to increase your cash flow, she says. So the doctors love it, and it's an endorsement for what we're doing for the doctors in the area of the billing.
I tell you what, I'm going to see how many people are paying attention. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you'd like to get a copy of The Myth of the Rich Doctor in like a PDF, click over there, raise your hand. And the little video spot over there where it says raise your hand. Okay. So Renee wants one. Sandra says she wants one. Michael, Monica, Kent, Fernando, Claudia, Bobby, good. All right. So what about you other folks? Come on. There's a few more. There we go. All right. So Victoria, yeah. So good. So here's what we're going to ask you to do. Again, at the end of the webinar, we'll announce this again. Just get back with the person that, again, asked you to come to the webinar, your business coach that you're working with, and ask them to send you a PDF of The Myth of the Rich Doctor. So thanks for participating in that. We'll make sure you get a copy of that. Here's the great thing, Patrick, and I haven't even got to talk with you about this because this week's been crazy, but I've done 2 of our licensee webinars this week. And I did one yesterday, and it was incredible. It was 2 podiatrists at the same time with one of our licensees. And this is where we here at ABS help you market your business directly to the doctors. We can't give you anything better than us helping you close your deals with your doctors of us doing a live demonstration.
Yeah, it's an actual demonstration live across the internet, just like you're watching this presentation today. We do this live with the doctor so that the doctor can ask questions. We answer all the questions for the doctor, so you don't have to worry about that. And you can just be watching it and listening to it as well, and participating and learning exactly what there is about our system that makes it unique. This is why about half of the doctors that see these demos, Eric, go on to do business with our licensees because, well, they're just blown away by the leading edge technology that we have there.
I can't wait to share this one with you. I did record this one, and both of the doctors and the office manager were completely blown away by what we were able to do. So there's no doubt that these licensees.
Maybe we could take some little clips from that and do a webinar here for people interested in getting the business to kind of give them a glimpse of that. Yeah.
I'd love to, especially the reactions that you hear from the doctors themselves. It's pretty incredible. But I just remember the licensee, his name's Chris. He called me up about 2 or 3 hours right ahead of all that. He goes, Eric, he says, okay, let's make sure we go over this, And he says, and let's make sure we close this deal. I said, Chris, I'm going to do everything I can. And he walked away from that demo yesterday. He should be flying high. So because both of the doctors and the office manager were so impressed of what we were able to do. And it's just based upon meeting these doctors' needs and getting their cash flow back to where they needed to be.
Yep.
It's
Hey,
amazing.
Thomas.
Yeah,
What's
go
that?
ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh, Thomas Green just said, does the license have to be renewed? And if so, how often? No, Thomas. Ours is a lifetime, one-time licensing fee, and you are certified as a medical revenue manager, but we do have resources for you. Now, it's not like you have to get renewed, but we do have resources through the Medical Revenue Management Association of America that I am on the chairman of the board, and that organization continues to do training for our licensees on an ongoing basis forever, and you never have to pay anything for that.
That's right. Hey, Patrick, Renee's asking a question. Do you know how many pages are in that book, The Myth of the Rich Doctor?
I can look it up here. Yeah, I've got it. I've got it right here somewhere.
Okay, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Good. Well, while he's looking at that, let me keep going here because we're getting closer in our time. So some of you folks may be a little bit hesitant to getting started because of, you think about one of the things you're going to get from us is setting up a website. And we've got templated websites here, as I'm showing you right now, that are all ready for you to go. It's got all of the different text and everything. Okay, The Myth of the Rich Doctor. How many pages?
155.
155. So that'll be the quiz for next week.
Right.
How many pages are in the book? So Renee, if you get the book, the ebook of it, we're going to quiz you if you're on the webinar next week. We'll ask you some questions about it.
Right.
But getting back to the your website, your web presence, obviously, Patrick, we know that we do live in a way of social media. You got to have a web page. You got to have a Facebook page now, a LinkedIn page, and we're going to help you, show you how to connect all of these things together, again, to get your web presence out there on the market.
Well, we already have a website that has all the information. And as you can see, we have several different templates that you can pick from, so they all look a little different. But you know what? It's already done. All the text about each one of our services is already in there. There's no pricing, of course, because that's not something you put on a website anyway for something like this. There's a contact page that sends the email directly to you when somebody goes to your website and fills it out. You're in business instantly.
Yeah, absolutely. You're pretty much in business, as you said, ready to go. Here's another thing people ask, or they're concerned about, or they find as some objections, and thinking about, is this the industry I need to be in? Is healthcare the right business for me? I ask the question. I like this industry, but I have no background or training in it. Now, we've done a complete webinar on this before, but let's kind of talk about why you don't need a background in medical billing with ABS.
Well, one of the reasons, and that was one of the questions Renee asked, is she says, so I'll be licensed in 5 days. Yes, in 5 days, we're going to teach you more than most. I'd say 99% of all the office managers out there know about this industry and medical billing. You're going to know more in that 5 days because we cram, like Eric said, a lot of information into those 5 days. And it's because of the ABS advantage that you see here. Our system is a complete system, folks, that includes not only the iClaim and the EMRX electronic medical records, but we have our own clearinghouse built into our system, a patient portal that has telemedicine built into it. It is the complete advantage. That's why, folks, it's not your experience and background, it's ours. And you tie in with us.
Patrick, we know that we have a competitor, and our competitor tells a lot of people that are looking between us and them, they'll say, well, ABS doesn't give you a choice on your clearinghouse. But let me kind of put some correction to that. You don't need to be out there looking for a clearinghouse, because when you've got your own clearinghouse, folks, this is what gives us the advantage of taking claims directly to the insurance company. Now, Haley and I have actually done a demonstration, and he says you can't beat the system. He knows that. So, but it's the advantage that we have by taking a claim and going directly to Medicare, taking the claim and going directly to, Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's the advantage that we have. There's no middle ground. There's no middle person. I loved what one of those doctors said yesterday. I can't wait for you to hear this recording, Patrick. This doctor said yesterday, she goes, so by having the clearinghouse in the iClaim, you've taken out the middleman. I said, yes, ma'am. That's exactly correct. So she understood it and was asking me at that point, so how long does it take for us to get this implemented into our office? I mean, that's what any licensee during a demo, that's all they want to hear.
That's right. And you know what? There's lots of people out there who don't realize that we have the background and experience that you need. All of a sudden, by associating with our organization, you have that. It's a huge advantage. And the lady who teaches the class that you see there in that picture, Cynthia, she is fantastic. She's built this thing to a huge business, has 11 employees now, Eric. She told the class last week. And she is just a fantastic instructor. She will tell you the good stuff and the bad stuff about the business. And she tells it exactly like it is. You bet.
You bet. And then we've got our own support mechanisms, as we're going to talk about here. This is Chad with our support, done a great job of making sure that all of our licensees are taken care of in whatever capacity. So we're here to help you, whether you've had background business in medicine or not.
Right.
We'll help you all along the way. Okay, Patrick. Again, we're kind of run up on the time here, so we'll try to get through these as quickly as we can. Here's one. I don't know anyone who could advise or support me once I get started in the business. Well, this kind of goes right along with what we were saying. We're here to support you all through the whole processes.
This is why a lot of small businesses in America fail, Eric. They don't have anybody to go to for the answers. Well, we have over 100 support people with our technology partners. We're scattered all over the United States, by the way, and these partners can support you no matter what the question is. There's nothing any prospect could ask that we don't have the answer for. So talk about resources, and then you'll also see we have a website for licensees that includes lots and lots of resources for you.
That's what I'm going to right now. Let me see if I can pull that here on the screen for us so we can see that. Because I'm actually showing our licensee support site right here on my computer as we're looking at it live. So, Patrick, you want to kind of walk through this with us here?
Yeah, folks, look at this. Here's the Getting Started tab, for example. You'll notice it has a welcome section. It has the live training package, business operations, all about setting up your business, and even setting up your website. We cover that in detail right from the get-go. And you'll have access to this, by the way, as soon as you sign the paperwork and get your funds into us. Then all of those services illustrated there by those white boxes, those are services you can offer to doctors. We tell them about all of those. Marketing, we have all the marketing techniques that we go through in the live training workshop right here on this website as well, with all the videos and things. Tools, look at this. We've got all kinds of proposals already made up for you, service agreements, all the documents that you need is already created, including all your custom books and things that you can order there. And look at all the resources, Eric, starting with MIRMA there, learning how to be that, and medical billing basics, industry updates, business skills, motivation. We have all kinds of stuff to keep people motivated on a regular basis. Eric, go back to that news section. I just wanted to show that if you'll click on that, that'll go to our blog. When you first log in to our licensee support site, you'll always be right there on that news page. And folks, that page we keep updated. You can see from this one if it's live. I think it's live today. Is that live? Yeah.
Yeah. I got to log back in. Let me get back in here real quickly.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were finished.
No, go ahead. I'll show it here. I show it to everybody right here.
Well, we post things on a regular basis, folks, for you to be able to access all the information you need about updates to the industry and things like that. So Eric's forgot his password now.
I forgot isn't that lovely? So we could certainly show that to you. But anyway, that gets you into the licensee support site. Like you said, all the news and blogs are all set up right there.
Yep. It goes back to, like, I think we established this site in 2014. So there's over 4 years of stuff being put on there almost every day. So it's just a ton of good stuff for people, old and new licensees.
You bet. Well, for those that want to work by themselves, hey, you don't have to have employees. If you want to, you can hire them if you want to. If you don't, no big deal.
Yeah, and sales reps, that's one person that we suggest that people look at least, especially if you're working this part-time, because we're going to show you how to find and hire and train and pay sales reps on a straight commission basis, by the way. So you don't have to put any money out up front for them. They get paid as they sign up clients for you. So it's a great thing to have people out there marketing for you. They bring you a contract. You pay them a part of the setup fee that the doctor paid to you. And then maybe some people even pay a residual income on the back end for those salespeople, so that every month they get a little bit of money for having signed that client up. It's a great motivator for them too.
You bet. Or like these two pictures here, you can just work by yourself. If that's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, until you get a handful of doctors, literally, if you get 4 or 5 doctors, you might be putting in a lot of hours. I'm talking about 20 or 30 hours a week.
You bet. Now, a lot of people don't want to be confined to a particular territory. So here's your territory restrictions.
That's right. There are none. The whole United States, including Alaska and Hawaii down there, are your territory. Meaning, folks, you don't have to worry about this. And somebody even asked that question, how can I know if, Kent says, how can I know if my area is not already oversaturated with ABS licensees? Well, Kent, the way you can know that is we won't talk to you if it is. I mean, if you're talking with somebody here at our office, we've already looked up. We know what licensees are in your area, and we know what business they're bringing to us. Now, there might have been a licensee sign up 20 years ago in your area, but that doesn't mean they're out actually marketing to doctors. They either have their clientele already built up, or they're just going on referrals.
Yeah, and absolutely. We'll even look that up for you. If you'll give us your zip code, we'll look it up. We've got obviously ways to be able to do that. See if there's anybody just right there in your area. And
yeah,
we know this, Patrick, that here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we've got folks in Dallas, in the middle, and in Fort Worth, and it's just, we still have not seen people just overstep people's boundaries.
Oh, no. We never have. No, we never have licensees in any area call us up and say, hey, I just came across another licensee. Eric, I just hit the wrong little symbol there in our question box. I deleted one by, I think, Michelle or somebody that was asking what's a deadline or something. I deleted that one.
Right here. I'm sorry. What is the deadline for getting in the next class? That's just really, I think it was Michael. Michael was asking the question, what's the deadline for getting in the next class? Just work with your person that you're working with, your business coach there. Usually just making sure that the purchase agreement gets in at least a week or two right before, get your money in and get all that taken care of, because we already know that we've got getting to be somewhat a pretty full class going in for June. So some seats we've already got reserved, but obviously there is some room that you can still get into.
June 4th.
As we kind of get, go ahead.
The week of June 4th. That's your last week to get signed up for that one, because the next week is the training. That's it.
Now, Patrick, we're kind of getting to the end of this, and this is an area where I want you to kind of help us with the wrap up here. But what if I get started and I just don't like this business?
Well, that's real simple. We're about one of the only companies that I know of, Eric, that have a money back guarantee. 100% of your money is returned at the end of the week. If you come through our training, we want you to sit through the training so you really grasp it, of course. You wouldn't know if you like it or not unless you did. But at the end of the week, if you don't like it for any reason, just ask for your money back. Folks, we've done that. Now, it's only a handful of people over the last 25 years that we've given a refund to, but it does happen. If for some strange reason you look at this and go, you know what, I just don't like this, we just give you your money back and just move on. As we said earlier, you'll be out your travel expense to get here to Fort Worth, Dallas, and of course the hotel. That's about it. Yeah.
And so that's the fairest way. And like Patrick said, there's not another franchise or business opportunity that would even dare do that. But Patrick being Patrick, he wants to make sure that everybody's satisfied, because he sees this and he wants you to see even the week of training as part of your due diligence, because you can only get so much from Patrick and me on Wednesdays. Even if you get to talk with ABS licensees and look at the demos yourself, there's nothing like being here and really seeing, is this right for me? that's why we do what we do there.
Yeah, and once
Patrick,
you've graduated, by the way, we continue those trainings on Fridays. We do trainings for our licensees. So even though you folks are still looking at our business to whether you want to get into it or not, the ones who've been through our training workshop get invitations to webinars we do on Fridays. And I'm doing one this Friday, by the way, Eric, with Dr. Vicki Ragner. It's a tremendous session that she's come up with for our licensees. So folks, you get to hear from a doctor who's training and teaching other people who want to connect and market to doctors. She's got all the secrets and all the answers, and she shares that with our licensees exclusively.